Welcome to So That Is My Life.
Hi, good morning actually. It's Sunday morning and I was gonna do a lot of stuff on the Mandela effect. I was gonna I was a panelist in Dr. Lupo's show and I could have done some stuff on that, and I probably will use some stuff on that. I wanted to talk about communication again, but I was browsing the net for my other channel and I wanted to do something on near-death experiences, and then I found this gem and I just have to tell you about it. And I'm gonna use my computer to help me along in this video because it's a little complicated. Well, complicated. Just listen to this. Robert Lanza, he's an American scientist, actually a doctor, I believe, and a scientist. And he has an entirely different take on the universe and on life. And I just wanted to tell you that he is a guy who, from his experiences with both as a doctor and as a scientist, got an entirely different theory that is called Biocentrism. And it says that life and consciousness are fundamental to the universe, and it is not the universe that coincidentally created life, but life actually created the material universe. And it's based on a few principles, and the first principle is the premise that what we observe is dependent on the observer, and that says that what we perceive as reality is a process that involves our consciousness. So we need our consciousness to see the world around us. The second and the third principle state that our external and internal perceptions are intertwined, and that the behavior of particles is inexorably linked to the presence of the observer. What he is talking about is basically the double slit theory experiment where we talked about, where when they put a sensor in the where the electron, you know, it acts like a wave, and when you put a sensor in it, it doesn't act like a wave anymore, it acts like a particle. And he says that's because we're observing it, and we're actually sort of making it do that, because we know that an electron, or we think that an electron is a particle, so it should act like a particle, and when we see it, it does. The fourth principle suggests that the consciousness must exist, and that without it, matter dwells in an undetermined state of probability. This means that when there was no consciousness, there would have been no matter, or the matter wouldn't have been in the state that we see it. We need to observe it, our consciousness kind of needs to create it, kind of stuff. The fifth principle, I know it's difficult for me too. The fifth principle is the structure of the universe itself, and that, you know, the laws, forces and constants of the universe, they appear to be fine-tuned for life. So that is implying that an intelligence existed prior to the matter. There are over 200 physical parameters within the universe that are so exact that it is seen more as probable that they are the way in order to allow for existence of life and consciousness, rather than coming about random, and that the death of the consciousness simply does not exist. The last part is what follows from the rest, but what he means is that we have always seen the universe as beginning, and then somewhere along the line, life started and the consciousness started, and some processes made consciousness. He says it's the other way around. There was consciousness, and the consciousness created the universe for it to live in. So he kind of turns everything on his head, sort of. And he says that, the scientists call it the Goldilocks principle, that we are such and such distant from the sun, and that we live in such and such environment. And he says 200 physical parameters are tuned to life, so actually we created it, the consciousness created it. And that means that consciousness always exists and doesn't die, in his perspective. The sixth and the seventh principles state that space and time are not objects or things, but they're rather tools of our animal understanding. And he says that we carry space and time with us like turtles with shells. So space is like a tool that we use to make our universe, and time is the same. It's like a tool we use so our consciousness can live in it. And he says when we die, consciousness doesn't die. It just naturally moves over to another space. So there should be an abundance of places or other universes where our soul or our consciousness could migrate after death. It's kind of the multiverse thing. Through our lives, we gather up information in our consciousness through our experiences and stuff. And upon death, this information is released from our body, and our consciousness will go with it. And our souls are in fact a construct from the very fabric of the universe, and they may have been existing from the beginning of time. It's all a bit, fuzzy in my head too, but the fact of the matter is that this theory and this account of quantum consciousness explains things like near-death experiences, astral projection, out-of-body experiences, and even reincarnation. And this without needing to appeal to a religious ideology. Because most people believe in some kind of God or some kind of guy that kind of created the universe, and he says that our consciousness actually created the universe. Now, a little side note on the near-death experiences. He says when your body is dying and the information is going away and the consciousness is going away, and when they pull you back, that consciousness returns and that information returns to you. And that leaving of the consciousness could explain the near-death experiences and astral projection and stuff. I just had to tell you about this theory. This kind of means, in the Mandela effect area, that we might retain some information from the other galaxies, or that we might have manifested a certain history and then started to manifest a different one, or other consciousnesses started to manifest a different one. I don't know if you get what I'm getting at, but that's my thought about it. I thought I tell you about this theory and ask you your feedback on it. I'm gonna put some links up to some stuff that to some articles and stuff, because so you can read the entire articles yourself and maybe make up your own mind about this, because this was a really, you know, a really interesting take on life. So I hope you like this, and from my reality to yours, I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye.